The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, callers, and advisors on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of the management, ownership, or production unit of ILS, the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be represented in part or entirety without the express written consent of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2026. All rights reserved.
Employees in hot water tonight. How did they come to swindle residents in Grand Bahama out of thousands of dollars, pretending to be Ministry of Housing officials? The police is now involved, and tonight, the women are wanted. Your next trip to rent a vehicle may not be as easy as you're used to it being. Find out how and why rental car companies are putting in stricter policies. As local Grand Bahama business owners make investments to upscale their businesses in light of the island's economic growth, there is movement as it relates to the international bazaar. We talk about that coming up. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. An Eyewitness News exclusive has led to wanted bulletins posted for 2 government employees, one who has since turned herself into the police. Linton Ritchie Jr. has been following the story since yesterday and has the latest tonight.
Employed with government agencies in Grand Bahama are now wanted by police as investigators continue their probe into an alleged housing fraud scheme. The Royal Bahamas Police Force has issued wanted bulletins for Marsha Cooper and Adriana Gilbert, who are wanted in connection with alleged obtaining by false pretenses. While police have not said the wanted bulletins are linked to the alleged housing scheme, sources familiar with the investigation tell Eyewitness News they believe the women are central to the case. Eyewitness News spoke exclusively with 2 women who claim they were defrauded. One says she has already taken legal action, but alleges that despite the matter being before the courts, the women remain unaccounted for.
We also did a civil suit, which we've already made our first appearance, and none of the ladies appeared. The attorney appeared on their behalf.
The women claim their ordeal began in November 2024 when they were approached about what they believed was an opportunity to secure government housing in Grand Bahama. They alleged they were told a $5,000 deposit was required to be placed on a housing list. According to the families, they identified the women as Marsha Cooper and Adriana Gilbert, who they allege accepted their cash payments, showed them modeled homes, and promised receipts that never materialized. One family says it paid the full $5,000, while the other paid roughly half before becoming suspicious. Determined to find answers, one of the women says she contacted government officials after she began to suspect she had been scammed. She told Eyewitness News she learned Adriana Gilbert had been seconded to the Ministry for Grand Bahama, while Marsha Cooper was most recently employed with the Disaster Risk Management Authority. She further claims neither woman has been seen at their respective workplaces in recent weeks.
And they were saying she's on vacation, and they weren't sure when she would return, because they understand that she has a family member sick and all that. But I understand that both ladies traveled out of this country out through Nassau together.
For the alleged victims, what they believed was the first step toward home ownership has ended in disappointment. They say they've been left with empty promises, thousands of dollars unaccounted for, and no home to show for their money. One woman told Eyewitness News she believes her personal circumstances were used to gain her trust.
When she collected the first set of money from me, she had asked me to gather documents such as job letter for both my partner and I. She said because the program was suited for struggling families and that we would make the perfect fit.
Now, with police actively searching for the 2 women, the alleged victims say they remain hopeful they will see justice. They also believe there may be other people who've yet to come forward.
It was just a mess, and it's still a mess. It was more than just us. It was up to 20 persons.
Police say Cooper's last known address is Gambier Point, East Grand Bahama, while Gilbert's last known address is number 9 Schoner Close. Anyone with information on their whereabouts is urged to contact the nearest police station. Linton Ritchie Jr., Eyewitness News.
That is just quite interesting. As you all saw earlier today, the police issued the wanted bulletins for the women. We understand one may have turned herself in, but again, these families and individuals have been scammed out of thousands of dollars. You heard the story last night. They went into housing, the Ministry of Housing eventually, and no one in housing could answer them. And so how did this employee, one from Disaster Management Agency, the other from Department of Housing, pull this whole scheme together and show these families model homes, and have had them make payments for those homes, and now they are without home or money? Well, I'm going to bring in right now the Hot Topics panel. Good evening, Peggy Candace. Good evening, Glenroy Pratt. Good to have you both here. Welcome to the show.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Good evening, and thank you.
You all, your thoughts about this? I mean, you know, we've heard of scams, and more Bahamians are now becoming involved in these scams. But your thoughts on how they went and took advantage of these people, sold them this whole wonderful story packaged nicely with the pictures of the homes, only to and then turn around and say, oh, we have no idea where your money is, waiting to get it back?
It's amazing. Sorry, Glenn.
No, you
go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, it's amazing to me, Shanique. Even as I hear more and more of the story, I saw the wanted bulletins when it was posted on Facebook. Then I saw the one that she turned herself in. But it's amazing. I don't think Grand Bahama is that big. And if you go into Ministry of Housing in Grand Bahama, they should have been able to say whether or not these individuals work there, whether or not the claim or the applications were real. And I'm amazed that there was no one to give an answer to the victims. And so how far does this scam run is my question. Who else
because remember,
is involved?
in the report, we heard that they were told one of the women is on vacation. Glenn Wright, it's unbelievable, right?
It's unbelievable, and it's just terrible for somebody to take somebody's hard-earned money in such fashion and just swindle them in a way that it's just deplorable. You know, people work hard for their monies. No doubt those individuals, you know, work several overtimes to, you know, just to save and have a dream that they want to accomplish, owning their own homes. And to have somebody come and just take advantage of them in such a fashion is just horrendous. And from what I have heard, you know, I had some people who had mentioned to me that this is not just in Freeport. This happens recently as well in Nassau. There are some incidences that I'm being told that some similar scenarios have been transpiring where people would have received receipts and did not get the lot or whatever that they were supposed to.
So wait a minute though, what's happening? Is the Ministry of Housing giving people the authority to go and approach families or have housing, almost like job fairs then, housing fairs, to say if you desire to own a home, come here? Like what's going on?
I think people they see opportunities, and you know, the good book says that a city without walls is easily overtaken. And if you don't have the right parameters in place to ensure that there is no fraudulent activities, then everybody with devilish hearts and ulterior motives will take advantage of those who are in a vulnerable state or in a need state of trying to procure themselves a dwelling home. And so the responsibility is upon the government to lock this down and to tighten this up to ensure that there is one funnel approach to area that those resources can be paid and basically get the receipt that is legitimized by that process. But we need to ensure that this type of thing does not reoccur, because it's just heartbreaking to work so hard and to find yourself in such a position of loss.
I think it is incumbent upon the Ministry of Housing, the minister responsible, to speak to the public and explain the process so others won't become victim of scam. Let us know what is the process like a police, there's some identification that we must ask to verify. Is there a number we can call to verify, or should we be giving money like it's a policy agent, just somebody come to a house and we give money to, or do we walk in? What is the procedure? And I think this is the instance where the ministry or representative, if not the minister, to come forward and explain to the public, because we don't want to create an environment where people are insecure. When you're promoting that you're going to build so much houses this term and we build so much in this homestead and the next, we want to assure Bahamians that this business of creating homes and giving people a piece of the rock, that it is a safe, secured business, and that this incident is not regular. But you have to step forward and give these answers, Minister, my MP.
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. Give those answers. The Bahamian people want to know. And inquiring minds want to know.
Look here.
Liven it up.
The Bahamian people need to know, because not every division in the Ministry of Housing should feel empowered to go out there and almost doing a recruitment exercise, taking people's money and just walking away with it.
Wow.
It should not be allowed to happen, or any other government agency. Well, that dreadful weekend crash involving a rental vehicle is the inspiration behind rental companies beefing up their security requirements. We get the story from Daniel Dean, and then we come back and discuss it.
Last weekend's deadly traffic crash that claimed the lives of 4 teenage girls has renewed questions about how rental vehicles end up in the hands of unauthorized drivers. One fact now under the microscope: investigators have said the driver was just 19 years old, despite many self-drive rental companies requiring drivers to be at least 25. The tragedy is raising questions about how those policies are enforced once a vehicle leaves the lot. Stephen Burrows, owner of Cityscape Rentals, says it's a challenge the industry faces every day.
It's very hard to try to, decipher who's a good client from a bad client. But the truth and the reality is, a lot of times people rent cars for their friends. They are of age, and then they give it to a younger friend. And that's what causes the issues that we can see now.
To compound the issue, the business owner says those who rent vehicles under false pretenses and subsequently damage vehicles make it harder on others in the industry, as insurance companies think twice before offering services.
The more accidents you are in, the less they want to work with you as a business owner. I've had many meetings with my insurance company, and we strategically try to find out what we can do better, what else we can put in our rental agreement to try to steer some of these individuals who want to do these reckless things to companies. We try to steer them away.
Burrows adds that some customers have allegedly switched out batteries, removed valid license discs for use on other vehicles, and kept rentals well beyond their return date without payment. When operators suspect their vehicles are being misused, some activate kill switches to prevent further use. Raymond Roll of AJ's and RJ's Rentals shares those concerns, arguing that reckless renters aren't just putting lives at risk, they're also threatening the survival of legitimate rental businesses.
How certain situations like that happen, it costs me have to reconsider my contract over. You're saying, well, every $125 and anyone else driving a car must have a driver's license, and if so, they need to send a license. If they don't, anytime I see the car on the road and it's not the person who rented the car, I'll be confiscating the car and they won't get a refund.
As police continue their investigation into the fatal crash, rental operators say they are reviewing their own security measures in hopes of better protecting their vehicles and preventing them from falling into the wrong hands. Danielle Dean, Eyewitness News.
Peggy and Glenroy talked about it during that we were watching the story. And the thing is, Bahamians always feel they can somehow get over on someone, beat the system, work you over. But to what end?
It's a dishonest factor, and I have to correct some Bahamians because some of us are very law-abiding. We play by the rules. I had a self-drive, and I wanted to pass it on to another individual, and I took the young lady to the company, turn it over in her name, the legal process, have her signed over, And when we went back in the car, she said, Miss Peggy, you're going to drive? I said, the car is no longer in my name. You have to drive. And so some of us dare to follow the rules. When there are others think that shortcut, they could play run game, a 19-year-old getting a vehicle given to him. And I read a story, I won't repeat it because I don't know if it's true, but it now is responsible for the life of 5 other young people. And so I understand the self-drive companies now tightening their belts but to secure their business, but hopefully in doing so it will save lives.
Yeah, it's just irresponsible young people in some cases, and then some older folks are irresponsible as well. I mean, and it's just a bad situation all around, and I agree there's some Bahamians who are just not in line with the law, and they don't care what you say, and they don't care how much the law even tightens up. Where there's a will, there's a way, and the unfortunate reality is that some people hell-bent on breaking rules because it just don't apply to them. You know, and the other thing is too, in a combination scenario to this, is the fact that you have young people who potentially may be consuming alcohol and all this other stuff. There are many other things that are also contribute to some of the challenges that we face in this country relative to accidents and so on. You know, you look at some young people, they can access alcohol at 16 and 17, unfortunately, you know. So there's a whole stricter approach. We just got to change our whole psyche in the way we do things in this country, and they just have to start from a young age, and everybody have to be collectively involved in this process.
But is everybody collectively responsible? Okay, so if a parent got the vehicle and passed on to the 19-year-old, will that parent or that adult be held partially responsible for the lives that was lost accident? An accident.
They should, because here's the next reality. The unfortunate scenario could have been somebody else who would not had nothing to do with even that vehicle. Could have been injured and harmed in the same fashion. Imagine had that run into somebody else's car and they had nothing to do with that situation because just prior to that car passed. I mean, not to say this is what happened in that incident, but these are the things that can happen, you know. And it's just so unfortunate that we are at this place of challenges in this country. But we need to fix so many things.
Glenn Roy. And you would like to say, you know, this one and that one to be held accountable, but it's also us.
Yes.
We've got to do it, you know. We can only be as good as the leadership, because leadership comes from out of regular society. It is just quite disturbing and vexing the way we feel as though we can do things. Generally speaking. Well, you all, the teacher shortage issue continues to be something that Minister of Education Chester Cooper focuses in on. The school year has just ended, but in just over a month, students will be heading back to the classroom. Now, as the countdown begins to the new academic year, Cooper says the ministry is already taking steps to address the teacher shortage experienced last year. He shared that recruitment efforts are underway, and he's also encouraging former educators to return to the profession.
There are some challenges, but we are seeking to recruit from several countries around the world to see how we can bridge the teacher shortage gap. We are calling all teachers back to the service who may not be engaged at the moment. I've discovered that there are some teachers who are sitting in some of the family islands, for example, not engaged. If you're out there, you are a trained teacher, I'm calling you to the service. We need you. The children need you. We ask you to give us a call, come back and help us to bridge the shortfall that we are seeing. We're also calling on recently retired teachers. You're full of energy and experience, and we need that energy and experience in the classroom.
You all, of course, we know what the issue is there. There's been a teacher shortage for quite some time. The teacher, I guess, pool is being drained, just like a few other industries in the Bahamas, because you know, these superpowers, those with bigger, more attractive budgets, oftentimes come to places like the Bahamas to get the best. But Cooper is saying, you know, he hopes to have this remedied before the school year, so that in the fall, the students can go back to school anywhere in the country and not have to be sitting there with no teacher in the classroom. Your thoughts on how he has jumped ahead of this 1 week after school is closed to try and get ahead of the situation?
I'm sure that he was ahead of it even before then. I have great confidence in Mr. Cooper's ability to get things done and to organize. I mean, as a student in Eleuthera Gregorytown Primary School, we had the O'Sheas, they were English. We had Miss Turngrass, she was Jamaican. In high school, we had foreign teachers, Mr. Walker, Miss Champagne. And so this is not a new thing. Just make sure that they can speak English. But I know Mr. Cooper has a plan, and you hear him making it a national call, appealing to the patriotic nature of Bahamians to come back. We need you, the children need you. And in Mr. Cooper, there must be a balance to that conversation. As you invite them to come back, you talk about salary increase, sir.
Yeah, you got to pay the teachers who are coming back as well. As I understand that there are some people who actually were retired, they asked them to come back, they came back, and then they're still finding themselves not being paid after, and they're still owed monies, and that's why some of them are not coming back. So we got to fix that issue as well. I mean, and obviously we don't want a lot of individuals who have no ties to the country and the influence of our children. We need to ensure that we influence this process, and we need to incentivize people to go into the teaching career so much so that we can solidify the nation's youth and ensure that we have greater successes as our children grow older.
Absolutely, it's very, very important for that to happen. Now, your thoughts on the members of parliament, speaking of paying teachers more, your thoughts on the members of parliament and all of those in that arena receiving a salary increase and allowance increase?
I believe it's the right choice. I mean, I remember in 2017, Mr. Travis Robertson was the first one to introduce it in the Minutes administration, and it was knocked down. And I remind F&M of that today at work, and he said, but they just get hired. I said, no, this is the second term. It's a second term group of people. I believe they work hard. I believe the demand on them, especially members of parliament with cabinet appointments and different offices responsibility, stretch real thin.
Well,
I believe they deserve to get paid.
Peggy, you stick a pin right there, because I know Glenroy has a lot to
Of
say
course.
on that. This is Beyond the Headlines. We will talk about that right after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Hey, it's your boy Charlie Bahama here at Superwash, Superwash's newest spokesmodel, and I'm here to tell you about Superwash's large capacity washers and dryers for all your big loads.
I know I see that Charlie Banana coming here just now.
Uh-oh, luckily it's also big enough for me to hide it.
I thought he was right over here where these large capacity washer and dryers is. They're big enough now to handle your big loads, you know. Yeah, like your comfort on your blanket. But just look at us. Somebody forget to turn on the dryer. Oh, stop! You hear something? Yeah, that's the sound of clean. Superwash washes you, processes you, and entertains you 24/7.
The general public is hereby advised that the installation, placement, or display of any sign, billboard, banner, or other advertising structure within public parks, public beaches, road reserves, medians, or other public spaces require prior written approval from the authority. No sign, billboard, banner, or advertising material shall be installed, displayed, or posted in any public space without the necessary permit or authorization. Within 30 days of this notice, effective June 18, 2026, unauthorized signage may be removed and disposed of by the authority without further notice. For information on permit requirements or to obtain the necessary approvals, please contact the Permits Department at 242-604-3758. Your cooperation in preserving the safety, beauty, and orderly appearance of our public spaces is appreciated.
My name is Charles Wesley Roll. My organic farm is Nice Layers Organic Farm. I have 230 birds up here. I give them fresh water, pumpkin, lettuce, cabbages, all the vegetables. Anything what I eat, they eat. Right now, we sell the eggs for $7 a dozen from Monday to Friday. On Saturdays, you can get 4 dozen eggs for $21. I'll be located on Jamaica Road, western side, Silverstone Primary School.
Here at CBS Bahamas and the CBS Pro Store, we believe in our prices. That's why we offer our price match guarantee. If you find any of our items being sold for a lower price at any of our competitors, whether that's online or in store, let us know about it and we'll beat the price right there on the spot. No one does it like CBS Bahamas. Learn more at cbsbahamas.com.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. We're going to jump right into that topic. Just before the break, we talked about the proposal and the fact that there is now a review of salaries and allowances for members of parliament, for the parliamentary group. And also for those like leader of government business, leader of opposition business, just overall to give them an increase. I imagine the last time there was an increase was well over a decade ago. You understand that in the Minnis administration, I think it was proposed then. I'm not sure that it passed. Peggy, you said it was knocked down. And so the thing is, you know, I think elected officials deserve to be paid well, because particularly in a 2026 and beyond Bahamas, what is being expected of you? Certainly, I think you should be paid accordingly. Now, Glenroy, you heard what Peggy said before we went to the break. Your thoughts on that?
I have no problem with the members of parliament salary increasing, and I see it as a non-issue. But I do see it, the timing of it is obviously probably a little bit off, considering the realities of what people are facing today. In addition to that, I feel like there were a lot of missed opportunities where it could have been probably
when
more useful.
When would it have been?
When we would not have been spending almost $70 million on consultants in the last administration and carried on into this administration. If you take $5 million off of that or $10 million off of that 70 or whatever plus millions of dollars that we spent on consultants, that could have covered the salary increases. Then you combine the fact that this is the largest Gussie cabinet that we've seen. So when you add all those components, then people look at it and be like, you know what, this ain't the right time. But I don't have a problem holistically with members of parliament receiving an increment because I believe the salary structure as it is now is not sufficient.
Some people, it will never, and I'm not hitting you, it will never be the right time, because I'm reading the responses on social media. It will never be the right time. But if you consider what these people, and I call them young people because many of them are young people, they actually give up their lives. They call themselves servants, but they live like slaves. They're here, there, and everywhere, and the demand and the command, and you shouldn't say this, you have to be here. I mean, even especially when you have, of course, I don't work for
Glenroy, you know I don't work for friendship.
Bait and switch.
Glenroy, I know what it is to sit here and host a show.
Right.
That doesn't mean that I want to sit here and do it for free.
Of course not.
I think all little
the
or nothing.
The timing is off. That's all I'm saying. I am in agreement.
So
timing is off.
So was the timing not right then when it was proposed before not even in the last administration and the one before
2017.
I don't think it. Well,
the talk was you all just get hired. You all want more money already.
Well, not if you're just starting a government and to propose a salary increase, that'll be unwise. I don't think that was the right timing either. But the point is, you have to show some elevation towards the Bahamian people and having. It could have been simultaneously done when people would have received a living wage increase. It could have been done at the same time, because now you're looking at it in a holistic approach and it's seeming like everybody's getting that bump up. But at this time, when people are finding it harder to survive and light bills are extremely high, gas is extremely high, grocery bills still high, and you're still facing all these situations in the country where people are still struggling, the timing is off.
If I didn't have other source of income, and they had offered me to be a senator, I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford to be a senator. I couldn't, listen to me, I couldn't afford to accept appointment as a senator without additional income. How much does a senator make per month?
I think now it's $12,000 a year.
And that sounds laughable.
Yeah, but understand, most senators today have lawyers and have different careers in most businesses. So they have sustaining other supplemental incomes, right? But there's still the challenges. I agree with you. This is what I'm saying. The salary structure needs to be more in line with current realities that exist in our country. But that current reality can't just be taking place towards the politician. There are other individuals who, look at the other day, I think you had some people from the Ministry of Works or whatever it was complaining about them being on the job for 20 years and hadn't seen a salary increment. So it can't be just when you're just coming into government and people have been struggling and fighting to get some levels of livable wage and they are seemingly on the back burner. It just has to be done properly, timing has to be done, and I think that it will be done in a way, if it's done in a way that everybody can feel some bump up, I think then you'll have a more buy-in to the process.
Well, here is one of our viewers saying, in every parliament in the developed world, parliamentary representation is a full-time job with proper compensation and benefits. The Westminster system of government in the UK is a classic example of that. And so I firmly believe, who knows when the time would be right. The economy certainly is looking good. We will talk shortly about Grand Bahama and how that economy has and is turning around. And so Glenroy, when will it be good? Wasn't good under former Prime Minister Minnis, so it's not good now, particularly when more is being asked of these people. They have to bring more to the table because again, this is the constituency sizes are larger, the demands are greater, and so these people must now work harder for a nation that's become more discerning and expect more.
Well, like I said, if you cut down some of those expenditures and find ways to make sure people can feel a little bit better, and this is why so much corrupt practices are taking place in the country, where you have people from the Ministry of Housing swindling people off of money and this thing and the next thing. When you got the police officers, when you got the police officers asking the tourists for $20, when you got other police officers getting charged, this is the reason why now people are finding it harder to survive in this country. We are the most expensive destination in the world.
Every field.
That's true, and that
but
is
we
why
have dishonest people in every field,
true.
and we have honest people in
dishonest.
every field with integrity.
Thank you. The pay of any civil servant does not give them the right to go and fleece people and try and get money and get over on tourists and whatever.
But I bet you $1, it'll be more tempting to do it. It may not be right, and I don't agree that it should be done, but it's tempting to do it.
Without integrity, if you are dishonest and greedy, you could have money coming out and you can be a thief.
No, that's those thieves. I'm not talking about somebody who has a habitual habit. I'm talking about people who are genuinely struggling and they're trying to make ends meet. Listen, that $20 could buy, unfortunately, people are buying the $20.
The mindset of the average Bahamian is this: if they could feel as though they're getting over on you,
no man, I
then
don't
let's
think.
make, you start, Glenroy. Yeah, you don't think. By the way, with the fact that you talk about this very, very exclusive destination that costs a lot, let the service, because I saw a video with one of our high-end resorts and the people talking about the service there. So bring the service up to match what these people are paying to come and lay and play and have fun in the Bahamas. Do that. That's very important. Another viewer says the story of the Bay Street Boys and their control of the economy is a classic example why politicians should be properly compensated. I tell you, so we could go back and forth.
The new Bay Street Boys are the politicians. Let's not fool ourselves. These guys have their hand in so many different businesses. There's what I call a monopolized wealth gain structure in this country that locks out the ordinary Bahamian, and there's a very few elite individuals who secure their families and generations unborn for wealth gain in this country. We got to wake up and recognize that to the point that we could get ourselves involved in the process of gaining wealth. Stop fooling yourselves. A lot of these politicians, because politics in the country of the Bahamas is the new hustle. Let's be clear.
Where can I sign up? Where can I sign up? Because some of y'all is act like you're mad with money. I'm mad with money. If there's an opportunity, can I sign up, please?
Just for the purposes of anything, I wouldn't ask it live. But in the break, I have the same question. The very same question.
We'll give it a little thing.
That's it. That little thing right there.
I'm mad with money. Just come on.
So on the heels of the latest U.S. Embassy travel advisory warning about the risks associated with jet ski operators in the Bahamas, Tourism Minister Glenna Santa Martin was asked whether the advisory could have any impact on the country's tourism brand. Hannah Martin says she is confident in the Ministry of Transport's safety plan, stressing that the measures already in place are designed to strengthen oversight, enhance visitor safety, while protecting the integrity of the country's tourism industry.
The Minister of Transport has spoken to this. He has responsibility for jet skis. I'm very confident in the work that he is undertaking, and we believe that wherever the challenges are, that we will get on top of them. That's just the reality. That, you know, and so we look forward to. He's working on a number of strategies, including additional training, and he's spoken to all of this. And so let us allow him to do his work, and let's see what the outcomes are. I'm confident that he will be very impactful in the work that he's undertaking.
Well, we all know we've seen and heard Leon Lundy has met with U.S. Ambassador Herschel Walker. He has talked about how he plans to further strengthen the jet ski operations there. We know already what's in place and seems to be functioning daily at the various beaches where jet ski operations happen. And of course, again, as Minister Hannah Martin said, we want to see what else can be done because, you know, as we ran last week or the week before, those jet ski operators, those who are doing it lawfully and taking good care in ensuring that it's done properly, talk about the investments they have made in the jet ski operation. And so we certainly want to obviously preserve that for them. Peggy and Glenroy?
Exactly. Like I was saying earlier, there are good and bad in every industry and every workplace. You have people who are doing exceptional, who are honest, who come to work to produce, and then they get this dark cloud over them by those others who want to come, look for slackness, sit down, be entertained. There's a mixture. And so we must be able to recognize and promote, if not only financially, honor those who are working, who are contributing to the development and the advancement of this country. Let's not just pay attention to the bad apples. Let's find them and remove them because this country will not fail because of a few.
Yeah, we just need to change our cultural perspective on how we do things in the country. But that comes again through development and a focused agenda on improving Bahamians in ways that they see each other in a way that they respect each other. I believe if you respect a man enough, you wouldn't try to get over on them. And I believe that we have to culturally go back to the era where we had pride in ourselves, pride in our country, and so much so that when we are dealing with business, we'll show that level of pride and ensure that we are just in it for the service and not so much just for the resources. And the resources will come as a result of the service, but it's just the way we got to think. But if you look at places like Japan and all those different countries, they have a certain level of discipline and a cultural level of discipline, and they respect each other.
Yeah,
and that's what's important.
But Glenroy, you know when that indoctrination starts? From the preschool level.
But that's what I'm saying. We have to be focused on that.
And we try, are we interested?
Well, let's just everybody has to drive that.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, we no regard for law and order, no regard for things being done the right way. And I'm generalizing, of course. I'm just saying, though, you talk about Japan and stuff, you see the videos where those kids, they don't go and try learn to memorize things. They are taught the basic fundamental principles of life.
And surviving.
And the first, what I think in the first 5 years, they teach them about honoring and respecting each other, cleaning up behind yourself, and all that stuff.
This is
fundamentals.
That is what preschool looks like there.
Yeah.
But Glenroy, I have a question for you from a viewer. It said, does Glenroy? No, he didn't call you Glenroy. He said, does Glenn acknowledge significant amount of unions at contracts signed under the previous administration?
What does that have to do with the price of fish? You know, listen, in my view, there's a marriage that sometimes I don't believe that is necessarily needed to be having or to be had with these union leaders. Some union leaders are on these boards and stuff like that. And my view is you ain't supposed to be on no board if you are representing your members, because sometimes you are compromised based on the fact that you're on the board. There are some union leaders who ain't on no board and they solely work for their union members. And that's the kind of union member I respect.
They won't be on the board of the next side.
No, they won't be on the board on any side because they won't make that money.
They're working for the next side.
And that is wrong.
We see it play out during election season. We see particular too.
There's a particular unionist
Bookie and Barabi. I can call her. Yeah, but that's Bookie.
She don't play.
That's Bookie and Barabi. Bookie and Barabi, them too. Barabi following Bookie.
Listen
and
to
them
me.
too.
Glenroy, you love almost every time you appear on the show, you bring up the Bay Street Boys like this a point. So another viewer says the Bay Street Boys were not paying themselves in exchange for ownership of the economy. It was corruption then, just as we acknowledge the corruption now.
But that's what I'm saying. Listen, I say it is a monopolized wealth gain structure that it's just switch hands. Don't believe that it's only, we like to blame the Bay Street Boys, but the new Bay Street Boys are the politicians in the House who got businesses and who have these businesses that we don't know about. And they have their families and generations unborn signed up. And when you see them cutting ribbon, who's sitting there? Their family members and so on and so forth. They are securing their wealth for their generations unborn. And then you know what happens?
They fulfilling the Bible.
And then what happens? They bring their children into the political arena and then they solidify it even further. And that's how you get locked out. But we all have to be collective in our approach to ensuring that this does not happen. Be focused, Bahamians.
So go against the Bible that you set up for your children and your children's children.
No, not on the backs of the Bahamian people.
They ain't on the backs of nobody for
if
your
you're looking at electing individuals,
children.
you're looking at persons who are going to elevate the entire populace, who have a mindset about electing and elevating the entire population, not just family, friends, and lovers.
Here's some good news, and if you're interested, you could get involved and actually work hard and make things happen, right? After the break. Nassau Cruise Port Chief Executive Officer Mike Mora says the business at the cruise port is booming despite being in the middle of what is commonly known as the slow season. He's attributing the boost to the port's proximity to the South U.S. ports. We will hear from him right after the break. This is Beyond the Headlines. Don't go anywhere. We're back right after this.
The Minister of Transport has spoken to this. He has responsibility for jet skis.
This year, Island Luck Sportsbook sent one of their very own customers all the way to San Antonio to watch Game 5 of the NBA Finals. The Knicks closed it out right then and there. No Game 6, no Game 7. Our customer was sitting in that arena the night the championship was decided. That's the kind of luck we talking about at Island Luck Sportsbook. Winners live here.
Must be 18 and over. Island Luck reminds you that it's only a game, so please game responsibly.
Wealth should not only belong to a select few. At InvestStar, we believe the door should be open to everyone. We provide options for planning a better future. Our investment funds are designed to assist you in reaching your long-term financial goals. Let us show you how.
Welcome to Paradise Premium Foods, where exceptional taste meets everyday convenience. Right in the heart of Hurricane Hole Plaza, whether you're planning a beachside brunch, an intimate dinner, or simply restocking your favorites, we offer only the finest selection of local and imported goods, handpicked for quality, freshness, and flavor. At Paradise Premium Foods, shopping is effortless, service is personal, and every visit feels like a treat. From gourmet meals to go to organic essentials and indulgent treats, this is your neighborhood market elevated. Live well, eat better. Discover Paradise Premium Foods, now open at Hurricane Hole Plaza, Paradise Island. Paradise Premium Foods, Taste the difference.
Well, Nassau Cruise Port CEO Mike Morris says that the cruise port is booming. Talk about it just before the break. Well, here's what he had to say about that.
We're very fortunate here in Nassau because of our proximity to the ports of Miami, Port Everglades, which is Fort Lauderdale, Port Canaveral, being the three busiest U.S. Cruise passenger ports, large home ports. And as a result of that, and also, I should add that with the investment that the cruise industry has made in private destinations throughout our country, the Bahamas receives, well over 10 million cruise passengers annually. Nassau Cruise Port anticipates close to 6.7 million passengers this year. We do have seasonal traffic, meaning we do have summer traffic and we have winter traffic. But I will tell you that likely every other, apart from the ports of Miami, Port Everglades, and Port Canaveral, U.S. ports, every other, let's call it port of call port or transit port, would give their left arm to have our slow season, so we're actually in the slow season today, and we have 6 ships and we have over 19,000 passengers today. So our traffic is strong. The blessing and curse of proximity is that many of our guests are repeat visitors, and so it's incumbent upon us, as commercial Bahamian business people, to continue to innovate and invest in our products.
You all heard Mike Moore. They are excellent news, and you see the several ships in harbor. If you drive along the harbor front area, you would see that there. You would see, groups and groups and groups of tourists walking Bay Street. Hopefully they're taking tours as well. But Glenroy, Peggy, good news for the tourism industry. Of course, you want that to be experienced in dollars, but excellent news for the industry.
Yes, the industry has been progressing under the leadership of Deputy Prime Minister Cooper, and I'm sure, I was going to call her First Lady, but senior woman and her grandmothers will continue the trend. The tourist industry remains our #1 industry, remains important to the GPA of this country, and that is why it's important that as they come, that we treat them well, that they can go and tell the good news of the Bahamas, that our customer service, and it's not only pricing, because everybody who go on vacation create a budget for that experience. And so we want to give them the best experience possible. So by word of mouth marketing, by them taking pictures, video, creating TikTok, that even more would come to the Bahamas. And it trickles down into our purses, right, Glenroy?
We would love to see it trickle down. And obviously, we are the benefactors of some of the turbulence that is happening globally, where people feel a little bit skittish to travel longer distances. So as a result, a destination like the Bahamas is more favorable to a lot of individuals. To the extent, though, that stayover or a stopover visitor spends is where we need that dollar to be spent in the island itself. Because maybe 75 cents on the dollar that goes out of the country could be. I'm not sure the exact amount, but we need to find a way that a majority of that dollar stays here in the Bahamas. And likewise as well, we need to ensure that when we do have such investments that take place in our country, we need a greater stake in such opportunities as a country, so much so that, again, we can benefit from the resources that is earned.
Well, I want to put this little plug in for Bay Street. I would love to see the continuation of the revitalization of Bay Street, where Bay Street becomes an area not only for locals but tourists to enjoy food and music, Bahamian lifestyle. And so I see that vision come to pass in a not too distant future.
I'm glad you said that. To be honest with you, if Fish Fry and downtown is a reflection on how we see ourselves, we joking. Because if this is our if tourism is our main industry, we should be much more elevated than the way we are. But we're not even just doing it for the tourists. We're doing it because of ourselves, the way we see ourselves.
Glenroy, exactly.
Pride in ourselves,
But yes,
and take it to that
those
next
are
level.
independent business owners at Fish Fry. And you see the way it's been allowed to progress there at Arawaki.
I remember one time I was sitting on Long Wharf, and I was just parked by the beach because, you know, sometimes you do that and you clear your mind and stuff, right? And some tourists were walking past my vehicle, and I heard the lady scream, "Oh!" And I looked around suddenly to see what she was screaming about. There was a rat on the floor, died. You know, he had a rough time. I'm sorry, you know, he barely departed. You know, unfortunately, he had a rough life. And he so happens to just decide to die right there at Long Wharf. And then I looked a few yards down, there was another rat. You know, so obviously that rat had a heart attack when it saw that its mate had passed away. But the point I'm making is, this is in our touristic areas, right? And when you ride down there, right now there's some potholes that you could actually use as additional pools to support the beach that is there on Fish Fry.
Glenroy's problem.
And so, no, we have to fix these things.
I agree.
I think it's a lipstick on a pig. That's what Fish Fry is.
Are you talking about the side corners at Fish Fry?
No, the main stretch. You go on the main stretch, you could drop in one hole and then come back out tomorrow. You could end up in Wakanda, dropping in some of those holes. The point is, we got to fix this thing and make it look conducive. But listen, it's not a reflection of me. I don't want my environment look like that.
It has to be a daily enhancement of the product.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Someone should be assigned to ensuring the area is clean.
I bet you the bathroom still ain't working. I bet you something got some bags over it.
Go and confirm.
I'm sure. I bet you they ain't working.
But again, Glenroy, what's vexing, and I am all for, yes, someone should be assigned daily to the upkeep of that, because that's the front line of tourism right there.
Yeah.
But it's the habits of Bahamians that continues to go, and when something is built and set up there, they go and they destroy it.
Man, even the grass up there look mingy.
No.
You know, it's unfortunate. No, I'm telling you, it does not look good.
Listen,
and then we brag about it.
Lisa,
world famous, this and bunch of foolishness. Fix the thing.
Listen, it needs to be fixed, but don't mess with us. You see this? I am wearing my baby because I am a proud Eleutherian Bahamian.
I want to be proud of something that is conducive to me.
But it is fixing.
I
can tell you because I play tourists on Saturdays now that politics is over, before the campaign and now after. I play tourists, and I know there's a place, I won't call the name because they don't pay.
That's right.
So I used to go, and I remember once they had to close the door because every space was full. Every space is full. And so they are good business. I purchase bags and things. And so Bahamians, this is also our responsibility to promote and patronize the tourist product. Let's come out. They pay thousands of dollars to come where we live. And we must take pride. Let's not show
fix it up for the tourists. Fix it up
goose.
For me. As a Bahamian, I don't care. Just only, I love the day. Don't get me wrong. I love the tourists. I appreciate you coming. But I want you to fix it up for me. Don't doggone pave the road when the king coming. Pave it for me. Don't pave it for the king. Exactly. And I want to be treated as such. We pay taxes.
Queen candidates, please.
Especially for Michael Road.
Absolutely.
I got to put that in there.
Absolutely, Glenroy. Absolutely. Well, speaking of keep it, well, you know what? Freeport is a whole different thing, as a matter of fact. So let me just speak and share this bit very happily, because we know Ingabi know what we're talking about there at the International Bazaar. There is movement, you all, happening in Grand Bahama at the International Bazaar. Just ahead of cabinet meeting on yesterday, Minister for Grand Bahama Ginger Moxie shared that headway is being made on the project, including the formation of a new board, property acquisitions, and funding allocated towards structural repairs.
Of the bazaar. We did an appraisal a couple of years ago, and it was for $2.88 million. And then we would have acquired the Harcourt property, which was the tower and the casino, for another $1 million, and $1 for the road. Amazing and game-changing project to Grand Bahama Island, because it isn't just this Afro-Caribbean marketplace that will be represented by 55 African countries, 20 Caribbean countries, 16 islands of the Bahamas, where these are permanent pavilions to display, their goods. You get the best of what these countries have to offer, but it's also the logistics part of it, where the goods would come from Africa, from the Caribbean countries for redistribution to the rest of the world. So it is an amazing project for the island of Grand Bahama. For over 20 years, it's been deteriorated. It has 13 owners, and so we've been in the process of acquiring them. We've come to an agreement with the owners of the bazaar. There was one holdout, and the process of payment should begin over the next, I would say, 10 days or so. And so we are right there. We have already acquired the Harcourt property, which is the Princess Tower and Casino, and so that part of it is done. We would have already acquired the 4.365 acres of land, which was the West Sunrise Highway, for the reopening of that road, because the residents of Grand Bahama have appealed for that to be done for, I would say, almost 20 years.
For the International Bazaar, you know, that's been an eyesore. First of all, it was the most fantastic attraction in Freeport, Grand Bahama for years. And then it went into a derelict state, and that just stood there for many, you heard of 20 years. Mm-hmm. And now to hear the plans for that happening and to further boost the Grand Bahama economy that is doing incredibly well right now. You see even local business owners have announced that they are investing even more in their businesses to stay on top of and ahead of the growth in the economy. Your thoughts on what that International Bazaar will represent?
I'm excited for Grand Bahamians. I'm excited for the island. I'm excited for myself. I visited Grand Bahama a few weeks ago, and I got a new appreciation of the potential because I was driven all over the place. I had some of that nice, lovely conch skin salad. I love it. Grand Bahamians deserve a break. Grand Bahama deserve what is happening. I watched the previous and second term administration put special emphasis, even when it came to the power company, when it came to making demands from Grand Bahama Port Authority. I saw the Prime Minister being intentional with Grand Bahama. I saw the Minister of Grand Bahama being intentional with Grand Bahama, and I hope the fruit of the labor is great and Grand Bahamian is prosperous. Because Shanique, you know, some of your greatest followers, yep. I met a lady, Grand Bahamian, they love this show, and so we are pulling for you because you are supporting us.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we are certainly pulling, like yes. you say, for Grand Bahama, that this happens and more.
Yes.
Yeah, it's bizarre that whole thing was sitting like that for 20 plus years, right? That's interesting. Pardon the pun, but or pun intended.
Good pun. Yes.
But you know, the thing about it is too, though, this sounds to me like it's going to be a good investment opportunity, but it also sounds to me, again, like money in the bank that I've heard many times before. And so with bated breath, I'm just waiting to see this thing come to fruition, because obviously the people of Grand Bahama have been on the receiving end of many promises and many shows and many tearing down of the structures, and then they patch it back up after the cameras left, and they are still in the same state that they're in. So we want to see this thing come to light, and we want to see the proof and taste the fruit of the labor. Taste it.
Well,
that's what I want.
I'll tell you this, Glenroy, you keep watching and waiting and looking, because I'm so happy.
I hope my battery don't die in this.
Let me tell you, whenever they're paying, I could talk about them. So the Grand Bahama Development Company is appearing on this show sometime next week, and I'm going to be very interested to hear what it is that they have to share and have to say. Whenever they come, they come with incredible announcements about what's happening in the economy, what's on tap, and what it is that they're doing to help drive things forward. And so certainly looking forward to that next week.
Money in the bank.
Glenroy, we got to go sign up for that special group.
We got to, yeah, that same part, that group right there. I thank you very much, Peggy. I thank you very much, Glenroy. You both are incredible. I love your preparation and what you give to each discussion. Thank you both very much. And a huge thank you to all of you for tuning in this evening. It's certainly been awesome having you along, and I look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.